So we're back here in our stream with our next guest, Josh, right?
Yes.
From Grey Fox Games with Champions of Midgard. So what's Champions of Midgard? Can you give us a quick overview of the game?
I can. Champions of Midgard is a worker placement game with dice-driven combat. So thematically, the old Jarl has died, and each player takes on the role of a Viking leader who has come to the town to fight monsters, get glory, and become the new Jarl. So it is a competitive game.
So that's my character, right?
That's your character.
Okay.
Svanhilda, the sword maiden.
Yes, that's him.
And so each character has a unique ability, so players come to the game from different perspectives. The game plays over 8 rounds, with the goal being to get the most glory, and each round is broken into 2 phases. A worker placement phase, which will be familiar to fans of the genre. Series of spaces, which affects resources to gather, 1 worker to a space, and collect the objects that you get. Perhaps the most valuable resource in the game are these Viking warrior dice, and these dice are what you use to do combat with the monsters.
And I can get new dice here at the fields. Okay.
Yep, swordsmith, halfter, blacksmith, they provide you with different dice. Each of these represents a warrior of varying skill levels. So swordsmen being the weakest and axemen being the strongest. So players will build up forces of dice warriors along with gathering assorted resources, and then they will send them out to do combat. So when the game moves on to the second phase, players will claim spots to fight monsters, and there are 3 basic monster types in the game.
Okay, you can see it's here, like a troll.
Yep, so the trolls attack the village every turn. If nobody kills the troll, everybody collects blame, which is a negative resource. If nobody kills a troll, everybody gets blame. If somebody kills the troll, they get to get rid of their blame and give it to somebody else. So there's a PR sort of element here where I kill the troll and I pass this on to you and I say, well, I killed the troll, what has he done for you lately?
Okay.
The Draugr attack neighboring villages, and so when you fight them, you get a reward of gold.
So they are just what are the Draugr? They are monsters, undead monsters?
Undead.
Okay, undead monsters. And these are all different trolls and different Draugrs?
Yep.
Can be here?
Absolutely.
You have a whole deck of Draugrs and a whole deck of trolls.
Yep, and each of them vary in their stats, how much strength they have, how much defense they have.
Another troll here.
And so,
very cool artwork.
Thank you.
I must say.
Victor Corbea did the art. He's the same artist who did Samurai Spirit.
Samurai Spirit, yes.
Yeah, we think
very
he did a fantastic job.
And here also these undead. Very cool. Very cool.
No, he designed those from 2 different models, one from the land and one from the sea, so you can kind of see some of them are waterlogged zombie-type creatures.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay.
So the Draugr give you a reward, and then the monsters down on these distant shores are the most difficult. They provide you the most glory, which is how you win the game. And so this is the glory value on each of these cards. You can see these guys give you a little range, these guys give you a large range.
Okay, and these are also different kind of types of, what do you say, mythological?
Yeah, they're mythological Norse beasts.
Real cup, okay. One question in the chat was, can we expect this game anytime soon in German, or is how much language is involved in the cards? And I see here is some language here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the part that is most language dependent is these rune cards.
Because here's all symbols on the creatures.
Yeah, there are about a dozen of these that have an effect. They're single-use items, and so these at this point would require paste-ups. Pretty much everything in the game, even if it has a couple of words of text, makes heavy use of the symbols, and so we found international audiences have not very much trouble with the worker placement or the combat, but just these cards. We do have a professional rules translation done in German, and so that is available on Board Game Geek and on the Grey Fox website.
Okay.
But as far as having the game be localized, we're working on building some relationships with publishers here, but we don't have a firm date for that.
Okay, and these are also worker placement spots here with the what vision cards, and what's this?
Yeah, these are rune cards.
Rune cards,
Yeah,
okay.
and these are destiny cards.
And Destiny cards.
Yeah,
Okay.
and destiny cards may have some text on them, but actually they're not terribly text dependent because each of them is the same. It says have the most something at the end of the game.
Okay, if you're a troll slayer, you have to have the most troll card,
Right,
of course.
yeah, and some of them make use of heavy symbology as well.
And these cool ships.
Yep, so these relate to fighting the monsters in the distant shores. These monsters, which are the most valuable, are also the most difficult to get because these ones, you can just claim a spot. I will fight the troll and then do so, commit your dice to fight that monster. But if you want to fight the big guys, you need a ship. And so by taking a ship, you can commit to a journey, and these ships must be loaded with some combination of your dice and some food for those warriors on their journey. And they have random events. So sometimes they may have a storm, they might find no wind,
No
and lose
wind
some
with
of their food.
Some food, yes, okay, because it took longer to
Right.
get here.
Exactly. Sometimes, of course, it's all clear, and these events can be mitigated as well. You can oversupply in order to prepare for disaster, but there's also a space that allows you to look ahead, so you know what you're getting into before you commit.
Lose. Whirlpool. Lose one warrior is kind
Yes.
of...
One of your dice falls overboard.
falls overboard. Very cool. That's a cool mechanic. And then I'm here, and then I have to fight. How do you fight?
You fight. All right, so when you fight, monsters have values that you care about. They have a strength value and a defense value. This is the number of hits you need to defeat them, and this is how much damage they do to you every round. So the dice that you have committed to do combat will be rolled. Sword results will do hits to your enemy. Shield results will negate damage done to him. So in this case, we have one or more hits. We will defeat that monster. He will also deal 3 damage to us. So with 1 shield, that means we will lose 2 of our warriors in battle. And you can choose which warriors that you lose in that fight.
Okay, and then I'm left with 1.
Yes, he survived. He can come back to Longhouse and you can use him on another journey. But it's worth noting.
This is my house where I can keep my warriors, so I
Yes.
can't have more than my
Right.
space.
Eight warriors can fit in your longhouse. Anybody beyond that point won't work for you. If you tell them they have to sleep in the mud, they're not coming to fight for you.
The price point is asked.
Yeah, the MSRP on this game is $60. We're selling it at the fair for €55.
55
Yep.
Euro. 45. Yeah. Okay.
So with combat, you don't need survivors. Vikings don't mind dying for
Yes,
glory. As
yes,
long
we
as
know
they
that.
have done enough damage, they'll go ahead and get the glory. And then these monsters also provide a reward token in the form of Favor of the Gods. And so these are another tool for you to mitigate your luck. At the end of the game, for each of these favor tokens you have, you will gain 2 glory. But throughout the game, if after you have rolled your combat dice, if you're not satisfied with the results you've got, you can cash in one of these and re-roll more on your dice.
Okay. And what does this symbol mean here?
So some of the monsters are immune to particular types of monsters.
Ah.
No swordsmen, no axemen, and so on.
I see,
If you
see.
send warriors of that type to fight those monsters, they will simply be destroyed. So you can load your boat up with swordsmen, knowing perhaps that they will starve to death or fall overboard. But if they get there, this symbol essentially says, that guy eats swordsmen for breakfast.
Okay, very cool, very cool. There's one other question, I think.
Sure.
Sind die Characters unterschiedlich?
The characters have special abilities. I saw that here, right?
Yes, they certainly do.
Just for instance here, the Svanhilde, what is this means?
Svanhilde is the sword maiden. So when she's using the swordsman dice, the weakest of the dice, she always does 1 more damage than she rolls. So 1 damage does 2, 2 damage does 3. And there are 5 unique Viking warriors, or Viking leaders, and the game plays 2 to 4, so you'll play with different combinations each time with varying abilities. Some of them focus on collecting favor, others get discounts in the marketplace. She gets to choose her destiny cards. So these are also an engine for driving victory points. At the start of the game, each player gets a destiny. And it is basically an end game majority condition. It's kill the most monsters of a type,
But I
have the most
can
dice.
get me more if I'm using this.
Absolutely, yeah. By going to the Sigma site, you get more destiny, and Dagrin the Destined gets to choose her.
How many
destiny.
actions do you do in a round?
Players start with 3 workers
Okay.
at the start of the game. In a 2-player game, they start with 4. So you can expect about 3 actions per round, although there is an opportunity to buy an extra worker in the game, so you can upgrade.
And how long is the game played?
Plays in about 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay.
With 4 players learning the game, it doesn't often go over 90. Once people know it, it clocks in at about 75, so it runs pretty quickly.